New York City, the epicenter of American dreams and fortunes. Among its elite, few names shine brighter than Ralph Lauren. Known for his iconic designs that have graced the backs of celebrities and royalty alike, Ralph Lauren built not just a fashion brand, but a legacy that would span decades and define an era of American luxury. But behind the perfectly crafted image, behind the glossy magazine covers and the high society galas, lies a story far more complicated. This is a tale of ambition, wealth, and family. A family bound by both love and obligation, but torn by the immense pressures of upholding a global empire. At the heart of this story is the heiress, the one destined to inherit the world Ralph Lauren built with his own hands. She was raised in the world of runway shows, luxury yachts, and summer estates, surrounded by the most powerful and influential figures of modern times. Yet, as her father's empire grew, so too did the expectations placed on her shoulders. For many, being born into the Lauren dynasty might seem like the ultimate dream: unimaginable wealth, endless privilege, and instant access to the world's elite. But for the heiress, this life was never as easy as it appeared. Behind the glamorous facade, there were whispers of family drama, personal struggles, and a yearning for something more than the gilded cage she was placed in from birth. Ralph Lauren himself is a legend, a self-made billionaire who turned a simple tie into a multi-billion-dollar empire. He is a symbol of the American dream, someone who built an empire from scratch, but with that success came a heavy responsibility. The question loomed: who would carry on the Lauren legacy? And more importantly, who could possibly live up to the immense shadow cast by Ralph Lauren himself? His daughter, raised to be the perfect face of the family's future, would be thrust into a world where every move was scrutinized, every choice dissected by the public eye. But even as the world watched her with admiration, they also witnessed the struggles that came with being born into such an iconic family. Her path was never entirely her own. And the drama that would unfold behind closed doors was far more than anyone could have expected. This is the story of the Lauren heiress, the woman who seemingly had it all, but found herself caught in a web of familial duty, personal ambition, and the inescapable pressures of living under the Lauren name. But to truly understand the struggles and complexities of the Lauren heiress, we must first delve into the origins of this American dynasty. We must explore how one man's dream turned into a global empire, and how his vision shaped not only the fashion world but the lives of everyone around him. For behind every great fortune, there is a story filled with triumphs, but also filled with heartbreak, sacrifice, and, in this case, family drama that would threaten to unravel the tightly woven fabric of the Lauren legacy. Ralph Lauren was born Ralph Lifshitz in the Bronx, New York, in 1939. He was the son of Jewish immigrants, and his early years were far removed from the world of luxury that he would later come to define. From an early age, Ralph was captivated by fashion, though his style was unconventional by the standards of the time. He had a unique vision, one that combined the classic elegance of English aristocracy with the rugged spirit of the American West. In 1967, Ralph took a chance. He designed a collection of wide neckties that broke away from the narrow, conservative styles that were popular at the time. It was a bold move, but one that would pay off. By 1971, Ralph Lauren had launched his first full line of menswear, followed by womenswear shortly thereafter. His designs embodied a lifestyle, one of timeless elegance, leisure, and understated luxury. His iconic polo logo became synonymous with American wealth and success. But as Ralph's empire grew, so too did the expectations placed on his family, particularly on his children. Ralph and his wife, Ricky, had 3 children: Andrew, David, and Dylan. Each of them would grow up under the immense shadow of their father's success, but it was Dylan who was seen as the natural heir to the Lauren empire. From a young age, Dylan was immersed in the world of high fashion. She attended the most prestigious schools, rubbed shoulders with the children of other wealthy families, and learned the ins and outs of the fashion industry. But despite her privileged upbringing, Dylan was never just another socialite. She was fiercely independent, determined to make her own mark on the world, and to carve out her own identity separate from her father's brand. Dylan's struggle to define herself in the shadow of her father's legacy would become a central theme in her life. While her brothers pursued careers in film and business, Dylan sought to create something uniquely her own. In 2001, she opened Dylan's Candy Bar, a massive, brightly colored candy store in New York City that combined her love for sweets with her passion for design. The store was a reflection of Dylan's personality, whimsical, creative, and full of life. But despite her success with Dylan's candy bar, there was always the lingering question: would she ever take on the mantle of the Ralph Lauren empire? And if she did, could she ever live up to the standards set by her father? The public saw Dylan as the perfect embodiment of the Lauren family brand, beautiful, poised, and successful in her own right. But behind the scenes, the pressure was mounting. Her father's empire was vast and complex, and the fashion industry itself was changing rapidly. There were whispers of internal struggles within the family, disagreements about the future direction of the brand, and questions about whether Dylan truly wanted to step into the role of heiress at all. Dylan Lauren, born on May 9, 1974, was the youngest of Ralph and Ricky Lauren's 3 children. From the very beginning, her life was anything but ordinary. Raised in the midst of extraordinary wealth and privilege, Dylan grew up surrounded by the glamour and prestige of her father's burgeoning fashion empire. The Lauren family was a staple of New York high society, and Dylan's childhood was marked by a level of privilege most could only dream of. But Dylan wasn't just a passive observer in this world of luxury. Even as a child, she was fiercely independent, demonstrating an early passion for creativity and entrepreneurship. She attended some of the most elite schools, rubbing shoulders with the children of other famous and powerful families. Yet, despite her parents' status, she remained grounded, developing a reputation for being down-to-earth and approachable, even while growing up in one of the wealthiest families in the world. As a child, Dylan's passions diverged somewhat from the fashion-centric world she was born into. She had a particular love for candy, a passion that would later inspire her own business venture. Birthdays and holidays for Dylan were marked by lavish celebrations and extravagant gifts, but her favorite part was always the candy. She saw sweets as more than just treats. They were symbols of joy, color, and creativity, reflecting the way she viewed the world. By the time she reached adulthood, Dylan had developed a desire to make a name for herself outside of her father's shadow. She attended Duke University, earning a degree in art history, which was fitting for someone whose life was steeped in culture and design. But even at Duke, she wasn't just another wealthy heiress. She was a diligent student, and her work ethic was well known among her peers. In many ways, she was balancing 2 identities, one as the daughter of Ralph Lauren, the other as an independent young woman trying to carve out her own path. After graduating, Dylan dabbled in different areas, even considering a career in the art world. However, the pull of entrepreneurship was strong. Inspired by her lifelong love of candy and her desire to create something entirely her own, she opened Dylan's Candy Bar in 2001. The store, located in the heart of Manhattan, was a massive, multi-level celebration of candy and childhood nostalgia. It was unlike any candy store New York had ever seen, a whimsical blend of sweets, art, and design that quickly became a hotspot for locals and tourists alike. But Dylan's Candy Bar was more than just a store, it was a reflection of Dylan herself. Bright, colorful, and full of energy, it was a place where Dylan could express her creativity and individuality, separate from her family's famous fashion brand. The store's success wasn't guaranteed. After all, New York is a notoriously tough market, even for someone with the Lauren name. Yet, against all odds, Dylan's Candy Bar became a cultural phenomenon, known for its innovative designs, celebrity clientele, and unique candy offerings from around the world. While the media often portrayed Dylan as the carefree daughter of Ralph Lauren, her life was far more complicated. Behind the scenes, she was a hard-working entrepreneur, running a business with hundreds of employees and managing the pressures of living up to both her own expectations and those of her family. Dylan was determined to prove that she was more than just an heiress, that she could stand on her own 2 feet in the business world. But even as she made a name for herself, the looming question remained: would she eventually take over the Ralph Lauren empire? Her father, Ralph, had always been proud of Dylan's accomplishments, but there was a clear expectation that one day, she might step into the family business. In interviews, Ralph hinted at his desire for his children to play a role in the future of the brand, but he never explicitly stated who would be his successor. For Dylan, the decision wasn't simple. She had built her own successful brand, one that was completely separate from her father's, and the idea of merging her identity with the massive weight of the Ralph Lauren brand was daunting. By the time Dylan reached her 30s, she had become something of a celebrity in her own right. While her brothers, Andrew and David, pursued careers in film and business, Dylan remained in the public eye, frequently photographed at high-profile events and featured in glossy magazines. The media was fascinated by her, a beautiful, successful, and unmarried woman who seemingly had it all. But with that fascination came intense scrutiny. Every aspect of her life, from her business ventures to her personal relationships, was subject to public examination. In 2011, Dylan made headlines once again, this time for her marriage to hedge fund manager Paul Arrouet. The wedding was a lavish affair, held at the family's estate in Bedford, New York, and attended by the who's who of the fashion and business world. But even as Dylan's wedding was celebrated in the pages of tabloids and fashion magazines, the media couldn't help but speculate about the future of the Lauren empire. Would Dylan's marriage signal a shift in her focus? Would she eventually take on a larger role in her father's company, or would she continue to pursue her own business endeavors? The pressure on Dylan was immense. In public, she maintained a calm and polished exterior, but those close to her knew that the demands of living up to her father's legacy weighed heavily on her. While her brothers had found their own paths, Dylan's fate seemed more intertwined with the family business, whether she liked it or not. Ralph's legacy wasn't just a business, it was an institution, and the world expected Dylan to eventually carry the torch. As Ralph Lauren began to step back from the day-to-day operations of his company, the spotlight shifted more intensely to his children, particularly Dylan. There were rumors of family tensions, whispers that Dylan wasn't entirely sure she wanted to take on the responsibility of leading such a massive corporation. Her candy business, while successful, was a far cry from the billion-dollar global fashion empire her father had built. For Dylan, the idea of merging her fun, whimsical world with the high-pressure, high-stakes environment of Ralph Lauren was daunting. But the public narrative was clear. Dylan Lauren was the heiress, and eventually, she would have to make a choice. Would she continue to build her own brand, or would she step into the role that the world expected of her? The media constantly speculated about the future of the Ralph Lauren brand, with headlines suggesting that Dylan might be the only one capable of carrying on her father's legacy. Despite the pressure, Dylan remained focused on her own business. Dylan's candy bar continued to expand, with new locations opening in cities across the United States. She also launched a line of candy-themed products, further cementing her brand's place in the market. But even as she continued to grow her own empire, the question of Ralph Lauren's successor remained unresolved. In interviews, Dylan has always spoken fondly of her father, crediting him with teaching her the value of hard work and creativity. But she's also been candid about the challenges of living in the shadow of such a powerful figure. Dylan has said that while she's proud to be a Lauren, she's also determined to be her own person. And for her, that means continuing to build her own brand, on her own terms. In recent years, the public's fascination with Dylan has only grown. The media continues to follow her every move, speculating about her personal life, her business ventures, and her role in the future of Ralph Lauren. For now, Dylan seems content to chart her own course, but the world continues to watch and wait, wondering if, or when, she'll take her place at the helm of the Lauren empire. Ultimately, Dylan Lauren's story is one of a woman trying to balance two worlds: the world of immense privilege and expectation that she was born into, and the world of personal ambition and independence that she has worked so hard to create. It's a story of family, legacy, and the difficult choices that come with living a life in the public eye. While her path may be uncertain, one thing is clear. Dylan Lauren is determined to make her own mark, and whatever the future holds, she'll do it on her own terms. The drama surrounding Dylan Lauren and the Lauren family was not just about business. Like many families of immense wealth, personal relationships became entangled with the pressures of maintaining a public image. Dylan's relationship with her father was said to be complicated. On one hand, she deeply admired him and wanted to make him proud. On the other, she resented the weight of expectation that came with being Ralph Lauren's daughter. Over the years, there were numerous reports of tension between Dylan and her father. Some said that Ralph had a clear vision for the future of his brand and was hesitant to pass the reins to anyone, even his own daughter. Others speculated that Dylan was torn between pursuing her own dreams and fulfilling her familial duty. The media was quick to pick up on any hint of conflict, with tabloids eagerly speculating about the future of the Lauren dynasty. But the tension didn't just stem from business decisions. Like any family, the Laurens had their share of personal issues. Dylan's love life, for example, became a frequent topic of gossip. In 2011, she married hedge fund manager Paul Leroux in a lavish ceremony that was covered by the press. But even her wedding, which should have been a private and joyful occasion, was overshadowed by public scrutiny. There were rumors of disagreements over the guest list, tensions between the couple and their families, and questions about whether Dylan was truly happy in her new role as both a wife and a businesswoman. As the years went on, the public fascination with Dylan Lauren and the Lauren family only grew. The media portrayed her as the perfect heiress, but those close to her knew that the reality was far more complex. Dylan was a woman caught between two worlds, one of immense privilege and opportunity, and one of personal sacrifice and public scrutiny. For Dylan, the pressure to live up to her father's legacy was constant. Ralph Lauren had built an empire, and the world expected his daughter to continue that legacy without faltering. But behind the scenes, Dylan was struggling with her own identity. She had built her own successful business, but was it enough to satisfy her father's expectations? And more importantly, was it enough to satisfy her own dreams? In recent years, the drama surrounding the Lauren family has quieted, but the questions remain. Will Dylan Lauren ever take on a larger role in the Ralph Lauren brand? Will she continue to forge her own path, separate from her father's legacy? Or will the weight of expectation ultimately pull her back into the world of high fashion, whether she likes it or not? The story of the Lauren heiress is one that speaks to the complexities of family, ambition, and the pressures of living in the public eye. It is a story of a woman who seemingly has it all, but who, like so many others, is still searching for her own place in the world. In the end, the Lauren family's story is not just about fashion, it is about power, legacy, and the human desire to be seen for who we truly are. And for Dylan Lauren, the ultimate challenge may not be living up to her father's expectations, but finding a way to live up to her own.